Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne. This is Tolu Sarah Johnson. This is the book Reframe Heaven, and this is chapter 32.
Yes, this is where experience deepens without end. That's what chapter 32 says. Moments are not fleeting, they stretch, they unfold, they intensify. That's profound. Wow. This is where another illusion begins to dissolve. That moment, that moments are brave. That's for this earth. The experiences pass quickly. No, not in heaven. That everything you feel is temporary by design. That is art. Because on art, everything moves on. A moment comes, a moment goes. You try to hold it, but it fades because you're not. And you try to stay in it, but time pulls you forward. And so you learn to accept that nothing can last. But this is where that understanding begins to break because in heaven, moments are no longer lost. And this is what, because actually, Matthew, we can go back and even watch those moments that you were not part of, isn't it? In
Yeah,
heaven, which is beautiful because there's so many occasions of where we are told, myself and Matthew, oh, we're in heaven, we did this, we did that. We have no clue. We are blind to it at the moment, but it will be good to be able to watch them back in heaven. So, this is where you begin to see that experience is not designed to disappear. It is designed to deepen. And it was so interesting when my husband Ben did say that he was able to watch his life on her because he had to watch it to be able to go through the process of healing. I'm not sure if I'll be able to watch myself back. That would be so traumatic for me to watch myself back, really. So, but I guess sometimes maybe if you need to deal with something, you have to go back because there are things, a lot of things, I don't deal with them, I just close them up. That's a better way of me coping. So I'm not sure whether I will be a different person when I get to heaven, or I will still be this person that likes to close things up and brush them under the carpet somewhere. So it is designed, heaven is designed to deepen, not rushed into memory, not reduced to something that was, but allowed to continue into something more. So a moment is no longer a passing point. It becomes a space you can remain in where you could explore, unfold, expand. I love to unravel things. That's my nature. It's so beautiful when you try to not something that looks so profound, like Jesus is eating. Like for someone, they'll be like, yes, it's just a statement. You can't see Jesus. But for me, there are layers of knowledge I can extract from just Jesus is eating. In heaven, you could find like minded people, which you could discuss that with. And that moment, not having conversations for 3 days on end, I can't believe it. But that only happens in heaven. I don't think anyone can do 3 days conversation here or not. Even your body cannot cope with it because your body is not made for that. Whereas in heaven, I remember my husband saying, you don't need to sleep every night, but there's probability I may want to sleep. But you don't need to sleep because your spirit can stretch further than what your body can do. So the joy of being in heaven, knowing that you're not limited into moments anymore, is so beautiful because you know the depth within a single moment. And this is where you begin to understand that one moment can hold the layers, depth within depth, meaning within meaning. That's why I say when we are conversing with people in heaven, there's always depth within depth of what they say. There's always meaning within the meaning. There's always connection within connection. And sometimes you just have to go and unravel those things. And you won't be able to know the quality of the message that's been passed across until when you start reading some of the books, some of the things I've captured in the father's analogies, the quote and distill truth that I call this truth series at the moment, where I extract quotes that are coming out of people, they're just so profound. Like, that can only happen in heaven. Those people, they just open their mouth and just dump this profound thing on you. And sometimes I'm like, please stop. It's too much. My head is full now. But I love the idea of going back to them and extracting them. Like this morning now, I got an idea and I just worked on it straight away before I forget. So that's me. The inspirations just comes. And when inspiration comes, I want to work on it. So imagine if you're in heaven. If you are having this sort of inspiration on her, I think I will be so overloaded with inspirations in heaven. But I will have capacity, hopefully, to be able to do all of that because you live forever throughout eternity. So what once felt like seconds can now carry what would have taken years to process on earth. Not because time has changed, but because experience is no longer limited. So unfolding instead of ending, that's what you begin to experience in heaven. Unfolding, because this is where you notice that experiences do not conclude the way they once did. They unfold, they open, they reveal more as you remain within them. It's a conversation does not end when words stop. It continues in understanding, in awareness, in shared depth. And the moment of connection does not fade into memory, it expands into something you can return to again and again and see more. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to in Ever, because I am an intense person when it comes to the things of the spirit. I'm very intense. And I always love to find people that I can discuss with the way I'm passionate about it. But it's very difficult to find people on that to be able to be so intense and so passionate about something the way I am. So most of the time, I just come to Matthew, and sometimes Matthew is tired because we just dump things on each other because we only have each other to really discuss. I don't think Matthew has any other person as well that he can discuss things that are really deep with. And that's this thing I'm looking forward to in heaven. Like, I could sit with the Father and then we could discuss 3 days, 4 days on any sit with my husband, Ben. It's something I'm just yearning for. I'm looking forward to. So intensity will not overwhelm you as well. That's what I've noticed, that even though it might feel intense, but you will still not be overwhelmed because you've got the capacity in you to be able to take it in. And this is where you experience something different: depth without pressure, intensity without overwhelming you. And because on heart, depth can feel heavy. That's what it feels. Matthew is too heavy for a lot of people. A lot of people are so light that that you cannot even bring the depth of your revelations to them. Because what do? They dodge it. They dodge it like it's like a bullet. No. God is not depressed. Let's go. But see ya later. Shut you down.
Yeah.
Because it's too heavy for the person. And I'm looking forward to heaven where I can discuss with people that want to take things that are heavy. Imagine sitting with Moses and just discussing about, oh yes, how was the journey of Egypt? Tell me what wasn't in the Bible. And we uncover that. Wouldn't that be so beautiful? Oh, I would enjoy to do that. I would love to do that rather. So these are the things that I feel that you could have limitations on art because there's so many kindergarten babies on the pulpit. Oh, I love that. Jesus said that yesterday. God bless you, Jesus. I love that. Kindergarten babies. So are you going to discuss the things of depth with kindergarten babies? Of course not. They cannot handle it. And that's when you feel for Papa. Because for so long, he was in heaven. Living in heaven, which he will always be in heaven, of course. And he doesn't have friends that he can discuss things of depth. They only asked about 100. At the beginning, I was thinking, God, even when you count the prophets in the Bible, they must surely be more than 100. How can you say you've just got 100 friends? That was so jarring. But I understand now. They cannot just face the backward facing God. That's how Jesus called it, isn't it, Matthew? Is it back forward? Is it back forward facing?
Backward facing God.
Backward facing God. They are not ready to
And
see the backward.
the forward facing God is the God that people know, and the backward
Yeah,
facing God is the one that's hidden.
it's too deep. It's too deep for them, too heavy for them. Jesus said something as well. He said it's just like a trailer that it needs to go over a bridge, and the bridge cannot carry the trailer. What do they do? The trailer will have to hold on, because if it goes on the bridge, what happens? Collapse. And that's how Jesus felt. He cannot even discuss a lot of things with a lot of people he meets every day, because they cannot carry it. So that depth is what I'm looking forward to. And on earth, it can feel heavy. It's too much for them. It's too fast. It's too overwhelming for them to hold, because they are used to sucking milk. That's what Apostle Paul said. They're used to sucking milk, and they do not want to grow out of those milk. And then they get to heaven. What do they want to do again? Continue sucking milk. Because they don't think that everyone wants to be involved in this deep conversations. So I need to be clear about that. The fact that you get to heaven, even though there's opportunities for that, that doesn't mean that each individual will do that. Majority of the people are not interested in that depth. They just want to do enough to stay in heaven.
The deep conversations happen in realm 7.
And above, and well, I guess it will be happening in other, maybe it can happen realm 4, realm 5 as well. But what you mean is it happens among the people that are hungry. Let's just simplify it like that. It happens among people that are hungry for more and more and more of God. And if you're not hungry for more of God, if you just want to be religious, of course, you could still continue to discuss your religious conversations with people like-minded like you. So, but heaven, you are able to be received fully. I can't forget when Ben said, Tolu, one of the things that I love, when I say Ben, I mean my husband, I love about heaven is that, when I was on earth, I say things and people look at me as if I'm strange. Yes, because Ben was so heavy. All the things he carries are big, big, big ideas. He would just speak and I'll be like, Ben, why don't you like starting small? Please. So even me, that mess, why sometimes I couldn't digest things that he says. It was quite deep. Maybe if Ben knew Matthew before he passed on, maybe they could have been discussing a lot of deeper conversations. But he's so happy that he can do that in heaven. Imagine having a son, which our son Emmanuel, which is very, very deep, even deeper than his father. If Emmanuel had a father that is not interested, how would they be able to relate? That would have been very difficult. So to remain present without needing to withdraw, that's the beauty of it. Like you could just be in God's presence. You don't have any need for, oh, I need to go to work. Oh, I need to go and do that. You can just be in the presence of God and just enjoy being in heaven. For me, that is heaven for me. Like being in the presence of like-minded people to experience without needing to escape, because you're enjoying that presence, because your capacity has expanded and your capacity keeps expanding. Matthew always says, Tolu, you need to write a book about how one can write 10 books every month. No, it is like I'm not writing 10 books every month because it is possible. I'm writing 10 books every month because my capacity has been expanded. Practice, 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 practice. You get to know so many shortcuts that Holy Spirit will be given to you. Do it out, then get done. But everyone will not be able to. I couldn't write that down because I'm directed each time by the Holy Spirit. That's my secret. So, and He's the one that's given me capacity. It gives me ideas. I jump on it. It gave me idea this morning. I've already done it. Done. But that is what I like about working with the Holy Spirit. And those are the kind of things you can continue to build upon in heaven. And presence becomes full. This is where you begin to live fully within the moment, not partially, not distracted, not divided, but completely present. Because here it's so difficult to be present sometimes because you're thinking of childcare, work. There's so many things that could consume your mind. But in heaven, you can just be completely present. Nothing is pulling you away. Nothing is interrupting you. Nothing is competing with your attention. And because of this, everything becomes deeper, richer, clearer, and more real. And you have the experience that is without loss. This is where one of the deepest fears fall away, the fear that what is beautiful will end. I'm sure so far, based on the conversations I've had with everyone, I've been able to know that it's not like that. Because on earth, you have known what it feels like to lose a moment, to lose a person, to lose a feeling you could not hold. But this is where you begin to see that nothing is being taken from you in the same way. What is experienced is not diminished by time, it is expanded through it. People live forever in eternity. The only thing I would say has been taken away from people in heaven recently is people being kicked out of heaven. That one, no, I'm sure people never thought that would ever happen, but it has to be done. So returning without repeating, this is where you begin to understand that returning is not repetition. It is discovery. You can revisit a moment, a conversation, an experience, and it is not the same because you are not the same. Your awareness has deepened, your understanding has expanded. Each time I asked God the same question, He responds differently. And usually it's always deepened. It goes deeper. He expands the response. And my friend Matthew Blanc, but you've asked the question before. But when God responds, He always gives me something deeper and different from the first one. I'm like, okay.
And Matthew's learned just to let her ask the question again.
Yeah. So what you see within it, it reveals more. That's what I've noticed. It continues. Like one question can give so many responses from God. So everything changes because on earth you are trained to move on, to let go, to accept that was why that was to accept that what to let go, to accept that what was cannot remain. And so you live trying to capture what cannot stay. But when you begin to understand that experience was never meant to be shallow or fleeting, something shifts. You stop rushing through life. You stop skimming moments and you begin to enter them, to live them, to allow them to form you. God bless. I'll pass you back to Matthew.
So we got something that limits us on earth. We've got the fact that we need to survive. We've got to provide money to survive. And many people have jobs. I'm on a disability pension, so the government basically looks after me. But most people got jobs and that they've only got a certain amount of time to themselves to read books and to watch YouTube and to entertain themselves. Most people have got a job and have got to support themselves. So there's a limitation on learning. There's a limitation on the time you can take to learn. A lot of people live their lives with fear of death, and I know personally that comes into my thoughts quite a lot. In heaven, those two things don't exist. You don't have to live your life thinking about how you're going to buy your next meal or how you're going to provide for yourself or how you're going to supply yourself with resources, because that's taken away in heaven. Everything's for free. And you don't have to worry once you're in heaven about dying, because heaven is forever. But so those things can limit us, and you can start in heaven and progress, and your information and your knowledge can deepen and deepen. And not only can your knowledge and theology deepen and change and get refined, but you can get better and better at your job and do more and more things and get more skilled and have abilities. I started writing books about Michael Jackson, and I've shared this, but I started it years ago, and I started with one book. I thought I was writing one book. Now there exists 9 books about Michael's life. The unfolding, the continuing unfolding of Michael's life. It could even write a book now that certain things have happened in the last year that could be updated now. So your experience of heaven gets deeper and deeper. Your theology changes, your interests change, the things that you do change, the work that you do change, the relationships that you're in deepen, the relationships that you're in grow. We've seen, which may be controversial for you, but me and Tolu have been witness to 2 marriages in heaven, and that's something that proper Christian doctrine.
Yeah.
I would say that no marriages happen in heaven because of
Yeah.
something Jesus said. But we've
Yeah.
witnessed that, and not only did we witness that, but Tolu has got a very gifted prophet and seer that sees things that happen in heaven. And he was
Yeah.
able to report confirmation that that marriage happened. So things aren't fleeting. Things like the summary of this chapter says, moments are not fleeting. They can stretch, unfold, and intensify. And everything in heaven has got the capacity of getting better and better and better and better. And when you change your theology, when you change your intimacy with Jesus, when you update your intimacy with Jesus, when you get better at doing your purpose, when you're more transparent in heaven, you get promoted and you go to another realm, and then things change. You probably would be able to keep friends if you went from realm 6 to realm 7. You could probably
Mm.
go and visit your friends in realm 6. And of course, that would really interest them because you'd be like a mentor to them and you'd help them get to realm 7. People would be going up and up and up and up and following each other through the realms. So I really like the idea that life doesn't finish in heaven, and what you're trained on earth doesn't necessarily have to stop in heaven, and you can start new things and investigate new things. At one stage, I wanted to become a writer and director, but I've never done that. But I've left that to heaven. Heaven
Mm.
knows that I want to be able to write screenplays and direct them. And in heaven, I'm sure that will happen. That these days, you've only really got to write a script and you can type it into AI, and AI can make the film with all actors and stuff. So maybe on Earth, we're going to see in the next 5 years that actors and directors and everyone in Hollywood may lose their jobs because AI will be making films. So I imagine that may happen in heaven, but there's so much there's so much different about heaven. My interaction with Michael Jackson for 10 years has proven that things can not be static, and people can grow and get better and better. He started as a musician in heaven. Now he leads worship in the throne room, and he's he's being used to manage, like, the throne room has gone into like 24/7 worship, and he's got 3 or 4 shifts of worshippers. So he's managing all the worshippers in the 3 other shifts and doing one shift himself. So there's continual growth in heaven, there's continual opportunity. And like the word Tolu mentioned, is you grow in your capacity, your gifts get unfolded, your gifts get updated, you get promotion in your gifts, you get better in your spiritual gifts and the supernatural that you can work in. And yeah, so I'd imagine in heaven AI may be starting to write music and recording music and recording songs. I'm not particularly sure. Michael tends to write all his lyrics and all his music when he collaborates with other people. So I don't think they're using AI there yet. But I just want you to know that heaven is a lot different than what you've been led to believe.
Thank you. Are you done?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. So, who is the best saint to speak to this? I think Matthew has mentioned Michael Jackson a lot. So, let Michael Jackson speak to this. Do you want me to remind you what the chapter title is again? Or you know?
this is where experience deepens without end.
Yeah. Yeah, so Michael can speak to that chapter.
Yeah, so when I got to heaven, I had a basic understanding of Christianity. Jesus was my friend on earth, and I talked to him, and he talked to me, and I had a relationship with him. But I wouldn't say I really practiced a deep form of theology, a deep form of Christianity. I certainly really, unless you listened to a sporadic interview of mine and captured me one time saying I really love Jesus, Jesus my friend. And Matthew saw a video of me saying that, but he went back after he wrote my first book to uh, try and find that video. He couldn't find that video, so it's a rare interview that I said that. But when I got there, I learned about Jesus. I learned about Christianity, and I had certain prophets that were prophets from the earth that trained me and prophetically trained me to be a prophet, and I became a prophet, someone that could hear from God, someone that could write God's messages, and they called me a year ago to write 100 songs about a new change that was going to happen in heaven. And I sat down and wrote these 100 songs. And right now in heaven, those songs are unfolding. The things I wrote about was prophetically. I predicted the future. I wrote it about the future. I wrote these songs about praising God in the future. And now we're actually living those songs out. We're seeing the words of those songs being performed, and people in heaven know these changes have come about, and now they're singing songs about those changes. So we're not singing about a Jesus who died on the cross 2,000 years ago. We're not singing about how great his cross is and how great it is that Jesus died for our sins. We're singing about things that are really happening in heaven, things
Mhm.
that are really updated. Of course, we're worshipping Jesus and worshipping God and giving him the glory, but we're singing about things that are actively happening in heaven and are due to happen. And so you get better and better. The title of this is where experience deepens without end, and I've been continually growing in heaven, getting better and better. Building my capacity, and John Lennon has come to help me write, and Ben, Tolu's husband, has helped me write, and uh, there's another drummer from Australia that helps me write. And we work together and put songs together. And I get a lot of help from Ben's Angel, Delight. She helps, and she used to be the leader of worship in heaven, and she's basically come alongside of us now and help coach me in my role and treat my role. You may wonder if heaven is static, that you get to heaven and you do a certain job and you stay there. And there's a popular Christian teacher that talks about heaven. She talks about people having jobs in heaven, but she doesn't talk about growth. And
Hmm.
what would life be without growth? Where would you
Uh,
be if there wasn't a capacity for growth, a capacity to improve, capacity to do more, the capacity to expand, the capacity to do things to increase your reputation, to increase people's knowledge of you, to increase the glory in your life? It says in Scripture that people will go from glory to glory. And
mm,
what is that? That's a greater capacity of God's power in your life. So that
wow.
power comes for a reason. You get glory for a reason, and you'd increase in God's power and His capacity when you go from one role to the next. Um, so experience deepens the more you go, and the journey of heaven will never end. Of course, heaven can be static for certain people, and people can be complacent in heaven and not really grow that much. But it's set up and it's designed and it's supported. They've got systems of training and systems of coaching and supporting systems and supporting friends that can take you anywhere that you desire.
Thank you, Michael. I love that. That was so extensive. I'm tempted, Matthew, to invite your mom to speak to this chapter as well. June Payne.
So it's good to speak into this book. Matthew encouraged me when I was on Earth to write a book, and I'd been doing a discipling course, and I had like 20 lessons for people. So over about 6 months, I'd take a person or take a couple of people over a course, over the course of 20 weeks, and teach them the fundamentals of Christianity. And he encouraged me to write a book with all that in. And from time to time, people buy that book on Amazon because I published it. I was really proud, and I gave about 10 people that
Oh,
book, and they all loved it and told me it was. And a good friend of our family, a multimillionaire businessman, gave me feedback that it's one of the best books he's read on Christianity, and I was really happy. But I never thought I'd be involved in another book. And it just proves that if you know Matthew, that's a special connection. You know, knowing Matthew in heaven and being a friend of Matthew's in heaven gets special privileges. So I just want to tell you that I I came to heaven, and one day I contacted Matthew about a week after Queen Elizabeth died. And I said to Matthew, "Who are you?" And Matthew said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Who are you that the Queen of England come to my house and ask to see me? Who are you that you get the Queen of England?" And I said, "I told you, Mum." Matthew said, I told you, Mum, when you get to heaven, I'll be popular and you'll be popular because you're my mother." And
wow.
I went from that place to assisting the Queen of England when she was opening buildings and being the Queen of Heaven. And not the Queen of Heaven mentioned in Jeremiah, an evil queen, but an assistant to Jesus in heaven. And she's opening buildings, and I was catering for the functions and organising the functions of these special events. And then for a time, I played the role of Queen. Queen went on and did something else, and I played a role, and that was my function. And then I was used to train Princess Diana how to do functions and how to manage things and how to do speeches and stuff. And I didn't have to train her how to do speeches; she knew that. But I trained her how to do my job, and then after a while, Princess Diana took over, and now she's the official person who opens buildings. So she's basically a queen in heaven now, and that's that's essentially what she was born to do. And so
Absolutely.
her life is an example of how experience deepens without end in heaven. That she's playing the role of queen, and she's also uh, got another surprise that she'll tell you when you get to heaven. Another surprise happened in her life that we won't mention. But I've gone on and I've got another role. I sort of still help with the functions and still assist Princess Diana. And I also am used at the moment to mentor people. It's like it's come full circle from what I did on Earth. I would teach people how to be a good Christian and give people discipleship in the Christian faith. I I teach people how to lead in heaven. I teach people how to manage things in heaven, how to fully embrace who they are, and I sort of mentor people one on one, and I uh, I have a dinner table in my house where some of the elite of heaven come and meet, and they meet for dinner each night. And I've always been a person who's been hospitable. Like every week, Matthew remembers we went to church. We'd invite a family home for dinner, and there was always a lively discussion around our dinner table. And Matthew learned a lot of his theology. He learned a lot of his Christian faith by just listening to pastors and listening to people at our dinner table. And now I have a dinner table in heaven that Jesus and God and Michael Jackson and Princess Diana and the Queen come to every night when they're free. Um, so life in heaven is a continual progression, and God is constantly, the Holy Spirit is constantly seeing your gifts and your talents and giving you opportunity to build capacity in those areas.
Thank you. That's so comprehensive. We love you always. Wow. So to close the chapter, this is where you realize the belief that moments are temporary by limitation, that depth cannot be sustained. This is where you release the belief that moments are temporary by limitation, that depth cannot be sustained, that everything must pass. And you begin to see that experience was always designed to deepen, not to end. So the shift is this: you stop treating moment as something to survive or move through, and you begin to recognize that within each moment, there is more than you have ever allowed yourself to see, because experience is not something you pass through, it is something you grow into without hand. God bless.
God bless you, everybody. Thanks for watching.